Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. So I hope you are in a good condition, healthy and stay safe, yeah? So stay at home. So today my group would like to present our final year project on the title of Phosphorus Withdrawal from Aqueous Solution by using recycled eco-friendly waste chicken eggshell, as known as PwCE. It's a bit long. So this project Diploma 1 and the code for this project is DAC 20701 of the semester 1 2020 and 2021. So before we start, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Haziq bin Hassan, AA192076. After that, Muhammad Alif Daniel bin Muhammad Razani, AA192091. And lastly is Hassanal bin Hassan, AA191493. This project under our lovely lecturer, which is Dr. Noorul Hudai Binti Abdullah as our supervisor. I will present about the introduction for this project. So, water is the most important resources for living things to survive on our earth. A lot of water used from homes and industries must be treated before it be released to the receiving bodies. Improper treated wastewater problems have become one of the global issues, and this wastewater might come from household and have a chance to drainage system, which is the streams, rivers and lakes. Untreated water might containing higher amount of nutrients, which is the phosphate from the consumer, will affect the water quality. So too much phosphorus can cause increase of growth of algae, which can result in decreased level of dissolved oxygen, a process called eutrophication. However, with chicken eggshell as an alternative to remove the phosphate from wastewater. So we moving on with our problem statement. So why do we study? So okay, let me explain the problem statement of this project. So firstly, the excessive of phosphate effluent might stimulate the algae bloom, which it can cause eutrophications, which is they block the sunlight from the surface of the water. Secondly, next, usually chicken eggshells commonly dumped on landfill from domestic and industrial sector. As said in the introduction part, waste chicken eggshell can be used as to remove phosphate from wastewater. So this study to reuse the chicken eggshell as an adsorbent to absorb the phosphate and the pollutants from wastewater. Basically, the chicken eggshell contains calcium carbonate, which is CaCO3 as the positive charge, and the phosphate is PO4 negative 3 as the negative charge. So, from the problem statement, we have created of this objective for this project. So, the firstly is to investigate the absorption of phenomenon of phosphate eco-solution into porous material. The second one is to evaluating the effectiveness of raw and calcined chicken eggshell by removing phosphate elements from aqueous solutions. And the thirdly and the last is to determine the best fitting adsorption kinetic and isotherm models for adsorptions of phosphate onto eggshell on the data experiment. So I will pass to Alif for the next presentation.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Alif Daniel, and now I'm going to present about the scope of study. There are at least 5 scopes that comes from this study. First, to collect and prepare the waste eggshell from domestic, commercial, and industrial sectors. Second, to prepare the aqueous solution using KH2PO4 based on the effluent discharge concentration. Then, this study will require to conduct the batch experiments of phosphate adsorption by using raw and calcined waste Eggshell. Besides, this study will collect the data for efficiency removal from the data analysis using DR6000 after the adsorption process. Lastly, make an analysis based on the results by using kinetic and isotope model to identify the solution. Okay, now this study also have its significance that can be achieved. Don't you wonder about it? Let me tell you. Okay, there are three things that can be achieved. First, this process can ensure the environment will be good by treating the wastewater using the chicken eggshell. Other than that, the application of chicken eggshell as a new absorbent material can be a good alternative for industrial wastewater treatment due to its low-cost media. And last, it is to test the effectiveness of chicken eggshell as an absorbent for phosphorus removal in wastewater.
Today, I am going to present about the eutrophication. What is the meaning of eutrophication? Eutrophication is a natural process which ecosystems become rich in nutrient and result excessive algal bloom growth. It comes from sources such as nitrogen and phosphate from agricultural area and domestic waste from factory areas. However, the best strategic action for avoiding losing ecosystem service is the prevention of nutrient proposal. So next, I will explain about the wastewater treatment plants. As we know, in wastewater treatment plants, there are a few focus or removal in wastewater treatment plants, which are phosphorus, nitrogen, and activate carbon. In this project, there are a few factors affecting absorption process, which are contact time, mass absorbent, and type of absorbent. Firstly, contact time, which is the higher time is taken in contact time with the solution, the higher the efficiency of phosphate removal. For the secondly, the factor affecting absorption is mass absorbent. For example, the higher the number of absorbent used, the higher the removal efficiency. Thirdly, the type of absorbent is the factor affecting absorption. There have two types of absorbent, which are calcined and raw, where it's shown the porosity of the surface absorbent can affect the absorption capacity into the material. In this study, there have two absorption model, which are kinetic model and isotope model. In kinetic model, there have two types, which are pseudo first order and pseudo second order. Next, I will continue to explain about the kinetic model of pseudo first order and pseudo second order. So, what is PFO? Pseudo first order kinetic model assumes that the rate of occupation of absorption sites are proportional to the number of unoccupied sites. Next, the PFPSO. Pseudo second order kinetic model assumes that the rate of absorption of solute is proportional to the available sites on the absorbent. The reaction rate is dependent on the amount of solute on the surface of the absorbent is proportional to the number of active sites available on the absorbent. The isotope model also have two types, which are the Friendly's model and the Lamway model.
Hi, we meet again. Okay, now it's my turn to tell you about the material and method that we use in this study. Okay, if you can see at the flowchart of the study, there are at least 5 steps to make sure this study succeeded. Okay, the first step is to do a literature review about absorbance of Eggshell and absorption. Okay, if you want to know, before you do some study or some experiment, you need to collect all the information, all the knowledge about it. Okay, this to make sure that your experiment will get a good result. Okay, the second step is the preparation of absorbance, and the third step is the preparation of aqueous solution. Okay, before you proceed with the experiment, you need to collect all the material or ingredients or what it takes for the studies. Okay, this is to make sure that the experiment will run smoothly and gain a successful result. And after that, when you have all the information and all the material, you can perform the batch test experiment. Okay, in this step, you will do the experiment to prove the expected findings for the study. Lastly, after we have done with the experiment, this study will require to do a parameter analysis to identify the data that has been obtained. Okay, now I'm gonna explain about the preparation of adsorbent. If you can see, there are also 5 steps that need to follow to prepare the adsorbent. Okay, the first one is to collect the chicken eggshell that have been unused as the main ingredient in the study. This study required a lot of chicken eggshell and will be used in the experiment to achieve a good result. Next, the second step is to clean the chicken eggshell using tap water. This is because to make sure that there is no other matter in the eggshell and to make sure that it will not affect the result. After that, dry the chicken eggshell under the sunlight for 2 days. And besides, dry the chicken eggshell using an oven at 30 degrees Celsius for 2 days. And lastly, sieve the chicken eggshell for 5 different sizes. To perform batch experiment, the procedure will start by measure the mass of adsorbent as much as 2 grams. After that, this study will require to prepare the aqueous solution of KH2PO4. After the aqueous solution have been prepared, the sample will be put in the centrifuge at the 6000 rpm speed for 10 minutes. For the information, this centrifuge can separate the fluid, gas and liquid, and it will spin at a high speed. This centrifuge can reach the speed at about 200 rpm to 6000 rpm, and that is the speed that gonna use in the experiment. Okay, after that, put the sample in the HDR 6000 and the sample will be analyzed. By using this equipment, it will check the quality of the sample and also can get the information that contained in the sample. After analyze the sample, the study will require to use the kinetic and isotope table to identify the sample.
Based on the table they have shown, there have 2 types of kinetic model, which are pseudo first order and pseudo second order. Next, we can see the linear form for this model. After that, we also can see the plot, which is in pseudo first order, ln QE minus QT versus T1. And for pseudo second order, the plot is T1 over QT versus T1. In this table also have the parameter of each model. In this study, there have 2 absorption model, which are kinetic model and isotope model. In kinetic model, there have 2 types, which are pseudo first order and pseudo second order. Next, I will continue to explain about the kinetic model of pseudo first order and pseudo second order. So, what is PFO? Pseudo first-order kinetic model assumes that the rate of occupation of sufficient sites are proportional to the number of unoccupied sites. Next, the PFPSO. Pseudo second-order kinetic model assumes that the rate of absorption of solute is proportional to the available sites on the absorbent. The reaction rate is dependent on the amount of solute on the surface of the absorbent is proportional to the number of active sites available on the absorbent. The isotherm model also have two types, which are the Frank-Lewis model and the Lamoué model. In these studies, the expected result is it will reinforce the hypothesis that chicken eggshells are capable of clearing the phosphorus from an aqueous solution. In addition, it can be expected that the eggshell would be a good absorbent material and fit with one of the kinetic model and isotherm model.
Here we comes for the last part of the presentation, the conclusion. From all the information, from all the studies that have been told, the conclusion that can be made is chicken eggshell as eco-friendly material have the potential as an absorbent for removing phosphate from aqueous solution. In this study also, the application of waste material to absorb the phosphate element from the aqueous solution shows the advanced contribution of eco-friendly waste material that will be used in real adsorption wastewater treatment technologies. Okay, now I'm going to show you about a few references from our thesis, and most of it based on journal, and for information, it have helped us to set a guideline for this study. Before we end the presentation, we would like to dedicate this work to all those involved directly and indirectly, Center for Diploma Studies and Universiti of Malaysia for completing this research. And we personally would like to give a special thanks to Dr. Noorul Hudai Binti Abdullah because she have helped us on this study and we are so grateful for it. That's all from us, PwCE Group. Thank you
for
watching.